today's video, this is kind of like a cold email teardown, but not really. I want to talk about how to write an email to guest post on other blogs. And throughout this video, we will build a campaign together. And the reason why this is different and not technically a cold email teardown is we're not going from somebody else's script. We're basically going to look at our old video and improve our guest blogging pitch from a couple of years ago. The reason why we're doing this is we're revamping our guest posting pitching for some of our SaaSes. I would love to get some guest posts for Taplio, for LeadShark. And so we need to dig into our archives, see what we used to do, and see what we can improve. So in today's video, let's create a template for how to create guest posts in 2022. But before we jump into it, this is going to be a hugely valuable video, so make sure that you like this video to help spread it and subscribe down below so you can get a ton more content on cold email and email marketing. All right, let's jump into it. Who am I? I'm Alex Berman. I am the Cold Email King. I've written the book Cold Email Manifesto. We've sent millions of cold emails, grown SaaSes, grown agencies, grown coaching practices, all with the superpower that is cold email. Cold email is sending a message to somebody who does not know you and pitching your product and service to them directly. This is the easiest, best, and fastest way, and the cheapest way to grow an agency or a SaaS product in the early days, because you're just showing your thing to them and you are asking if they want to buy. And it's very similar when we talk about guest posting to blogs. In this script that we're about to show, we are going to show our concept to them and we're going to see if they want to buy. And by buy, we mean allow us to post on their blog. Very similar concepts to what we use in our sales emails. So let's dig in and see what can we improve. Here is where we ended up at the end of the last cold email teardown.
What's the goal, right? To get guest posts from high value people. Hey Div, huge fan of Alex Berman and your work on the channel. I run a media site for Indians called Business Outreach Magazine that gets X million views a month and would love to feature one of your videos or articles. Do you have anything you'd like to submit? Thanks for who.
So you can see the script at the end of that video ended up pretty good. And we used similar scripts to get guest posting opportunities in the next few years after that. And it worked. We've been featured on Forbes, Entrepreneur, Huffington Post, and a ton of these other major publications. But there's got to be something we can improve. There's no way that a cold email from all the way back then, that year, this is when we posted the video. Let me point. This is when we posted the video. And there's no way that email still works, right? Although I can tell you that it still works. But there's no way that it can't be made better. So let's look into it. But first, what are guest posts? Guest posts are publishing an article on a prominent website like Forbes or Entrepreneur, Fortune, that will get more traffic to your website or build what they call thought leadership. They used to call it thought leadership. I don't know if anyone's still using that phrase anymore. And I kind of think it's irrelevant. Which brings up a good point actually about determining your guest blogging goals. Are you trying to position yourself as the authority in your niche or in your space? Or are you just trying to drive traffic back to your website? What is the goal? Are you trying to get newsletter signups? What is the goal of this guest posting campaign? And it's very important that you decide on that before doing this. Now, for me, whenever I'm coming up with the goal of a cold email, I want to get the most bang for our buck. I want to get the most money possible. So for me, my goal of a guest blogging campaign would not be email signups, and it would not be thought leadership. It's going to be sales for whatever I'm promoting, whether that's new leads to X27, free trial signups with credit card for Taplio, free trial signups with credit card for LeadShark. It is whatever we're selling, I want to sell more of it. That's my goal with these campaigns. Yours might be different, but I don't know why. And guest posting can also help you grow long term. It's great for building relationships with other bloggers. Does anyone still use the word bloggers anymore either? Like all these concepts are so dated now. Guest posting is also great for search engines, which that's not dated. SEO is not dated, ranking higher on Google. And guest posting also introduces you to new people. If you're on somebody else's blog, or website, then you are going to be introduced to their audience. And also, now that we're talking about things that are kind of outdated, this also works for collabs in other areas. So if you wanted to cross-post on their Twitter account, or if you wanted to do a YouTube collab, this is all similar concepts here. Guest blogging is good for text traffic, SEO traffic, which is okay, but I always feel like it's better to build a relationship via video or even in little tweets than it is to write long blog posts. But some people still like them. And Google is still the biggest traffic source on the internet. Probably good to rank. So how do you find guest blogging opportunities? Well, you want to make sure the content's focused on your niche or industry. So if there are any big marketing blogs like Digital Marketer out there, then you can go and use those. You also want to make sure the audience of the blog will be interested in your industry. So for instance, if you're pitching to Forbes, you want to make sure that your pitch has something to do with entrepreneurship or some kind of business theme. Otherwise, they're not going to understand or take your guest blog. And you also want to make sure the blog has good readership. Guest posting takes time, so you want to make sure that the blog actually has real audience. Otherwise, you're wasting your time. So let me show you a screenshot of the final script from that video. And you can see that here. This is where we ended up last time. Now we boiled that down. We've deconstructed what you just saw into a template. And here is that template. Subject, amazing post about subject matter. Hi name, came across the form of content you did about subject matter. Loved the section about personalized compliment. I'm name, in short, what you do, who writes content like link to the content you've written in the past that's been featured on platform. Reading through your post, I thought your audience might be interested in these topics. Would love to discuss potentially writing a guest post if any of these sound interesting. Also open to workshopping ideas. Would you mind if I send over a draft post? Thanks, Alex. Okay, what would we change about subject line? Amazing post about subject matter. I might change and just make this the generic quick question, or say even from a fan. So it would be, hi, Alex, came across the article you wrote about lead generation. This was one of the best ones you've written so far. I'm Alex, a startup founder who writes content based on our experience with lead generation. So then you'd write your case study, basically. That's been featured in places like Entrepreneur and Forbes. So for you, you could even remove this case study as well. And then it also works without the case study. Reading through your post, I thought your audience might be interested in these topics. So then you'd come up with a relevant topic based on what they featured in the past. An easy way to do this, if you want to be lazy, is go on over to Tweet Hunter. And you can use our affiliate code down below if you want to sign up for this. But you can go to Tweet Hunter and go to this section, which is called Thread Ideas. Then we'll put in what we want to talk about: lead generation, B2B leads, cold email leads, and then we'll generate some thread ideas using the power of AI. And we'll just look through a couple different versions of these until we find some winners. So the 10 best lead generation apps is actually decent, and we'll just spice it up. The 10 best lead generation apps that you've never heard of. And then we'll generate 10 ways to minimize bounce rates in your emails. That's another good one. This is the difference between the last cold email teardown that we did with the script and now, is the power of AI really does all the work for you. Huge fan of this. And let's try again. And I just usually keep hitting this AI button until I'm inspired. One lead generation technique not all people use. That's great. So now we have the topics. Would love to discuss potentially writing a guest post if any of those sound interesting. Also open to workshopping ideas. Would you mind if I sent over a draft post? Thanks, Alex. And then you put your email signature down here, and I'll just show a picture of what an email signature looks like. You can see that. If you want to see our whole video about email signature, you can also look at that down below. And there we have an effective cold email script that you can test for guest posting. Subject, quick question. Hi Alex, came across the article you wrote about lead generation. It was one of the best ones you've written so far. I'm Alex, a startup founder who writes content based on our experience with lead generation that's been featured in places like Entrepreneur and Forbes. Reading through your posts, I thought your audience might be interested in these topics. The X best lead generation apps that you've never heard of. 10 ways to minimize bounce rates in your emails. One lead generation technique not all people use. Would love to discuss potentially writing a guest post if any of these sound interesting. Also open to workshopping ideas. Would you mind if I sent over a draft post? Thanks, Alex. And that's all you need. You go through, build a list of leads using LeadShark or Upwork or any other means, and send a cold email like this, pitching your blog post idea to these bloggers. Are there any other old videos you want to see revamped? Let me know down in the comments below. Always happy to take a look in the archives and give you my thoughts on what I would change now if I was doing it again. And if you want to learn more about lead generation, have me help you every single week, and join a community of awesome people, then go on over to email10k.com. That also comes with access to all of our courses on how to grow a business, how to scale your agency, etc. So you can check that out down below at email10k.com. Thanks for watching the video. Be sure to smash that like button to encourage this type of content on YouTube. Subscribe for more videos like this, and I'll talk to you soon. Thanks for watching. I'm Alex Berman.